Well, hello, and welcome to our third Lunch and Learn. I'm Marcy Mowry. I'm the president of the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation. I wanted to start by wishing you a happy Cinco de Mayo, as well as happy Giving Tuesday now. Today, we thought it might be interesting to meet the staff. Oftentimes, we hear people mentioning, it's so wonderful to see the face that is connected with the name. So we thought that we would do that for you by giving each staff member a few minutes to talk about themselves and answer a few questions that I have to present to them. If you have a question, feel free to put it into the comment box, and I will be monitoring that and will ask that question of the staff, probably at the end rather than as each individual staff is talking. So we're going to start today with Jenna. If you've ever ordered anything off of our store and received a package in the mail, it probably came from Jenna. So Jenna, can you talk about what your role is with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I take care of the office and I help Marcy with different tasks as they pop up. So if you call in, chances are you're going to talk to me. If you place an order, chances are I'm going to send it out. So things like that.
So what does a typical day at the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation office mean to you? I mean, right now you can see we're all working remotely like most people are, but what is a typical day at the PPFF office?
A typical day is, fielding phone calls, and the phone calls vary from friends groups needing assistance with different issues that pop up to questions about, our products, the different parks, and it can be anything. You never know what to expect from day to day. And then I also do general office things like, I run out for supplies and I go to the post office a lot. Lucy is at the post office, is one of my best friends now.
Excellent. Yeah, you are very busy and running around, tying all those loose ends together. You are an outdoor enthusiast, so tell us a little bit about what your favorite outdoor activity is, and do you have a favorite park or forest where you like to do it?
I absolutely love adventure. So I have a couple parks that are sort of go-tos. When I look for a park, I'm actually looking for a few different things. One, is there enough to do that my teenage son, my husband, and myself can stay busy? Um, is there an experience to offer? So two of my favorites are Ohio Pile and Lehigh Gorge State Park. They have whitewater rafting. You can go hiking to some incredible views. And then the surrounding towns, like there's little towns that you can go to. Jim Thorpe is absolutely stunning. If you've never been there, it's worthwhile. And then the communities are designed sort of with families in mind. So you can go by yourself and have an incredible time. But if you go with a group, you're going to have just as much fun. So Ohio Pile and Lehigh Gorge are my two favorites. But I also like locally, I live in the mid-state, Little Buffalo, Pine Grove State Forest is great, or Pine Grove State Park is great. There's an Iron Master's mansion at Pine Grove that looks like it just came straight from the set of Dirty Dancing, if you like that movie. So basically anything that there's water is what I like to do.
So you enjoy the water.
Yes.
Yes. So today is Giving Tuesday, and we thought it would be good to each of the staff members to offer a piece of advice that they'll share with you on Giving Tuesday. So what is your word of wisdom that you'd like to share about enjoying the outdoors or getting outside?
Don't be afraid. I think one of the things that people run into when they go out to the parks is there's some fears. There's fears of ticks, there's fears of bears. If you are a new if you're a new outdoors person and you're concerned, you can go online and you can find a trail that might be a little busier, more for novice hikers. And if you're on a busier trail, things like bears and aren't going to be a concern. I know a lot of people are very worried about ticks. So just, covering up properly, wearing some protection in forms of like DEET, just, you can go online, you can find some really good information. And I think once you have a little bit of information, you can go out and feel safe and have a good time. So my advice is just to get out there and do it, and you'll find how amazing it can be.
Awesome. And for those who are listening, we will be doing a lunch and learn on Friday about Lyme disease and tick protection. So that is a concern. You're very accurate with that. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Jenna?
just thank you for your support.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, I'm going to introduce Bernadette. If you have ever received a check from the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation, if you are a Friends Group treasurer, you're probably working a lot with Bernadette. So Bernadette, tell us a little bit about what your role is with the foundation.
Well, I do work a lot with the Friends Groups and take care of any of the money that they send in for any of their events, dues, or anything like that. I take care of any check requests for any supplies or anything they need, and just keep the ball rolling in that direction and keep it all straight, and we're all happy.
Excellent. So what would you describe as your typical day at the office?
My typical day, I come in and my first thing that I do is check the mail, because most of our things do come through the mail, either mail or email. So I look for any deposits that are coming in or check requests. And actually, a lot of my time is taken up with answering email from a lot of the Friends groups. And that's how, of course, we communicate back and forth here now, especially since everybody's kind of working separate. So it does take a lot of time just to get through the email. And then, I do my regular bookkeeping and bank reconciliations and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah, with 46 chapters, that's a lot of people. And one of the ways that our chapters work with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation is all the finances come through PPFF, because we're the fiscal agent for those 46 chapters. So you also enjoy the outdoors. What's your favorite outdoor activity, and do you have a favorite park or forest where you like to do that activity?
Well, I have always camped, and I still do camp, and I like it very much. I, like Jenna, I'm always looking for a place that has water, even if it's just to take a walk, because I do like to, I don't hike per se, but I do like to walk and see falls and everything. And Ricketts Glen has been one of my favorites because it's just so picturesque. But before I moved here, I spent so much time up in Ohio Powell, even from the time I was a little girl. My mother, we were Italian and a very close family, and we used to go up a couple times a year and start at like 7 o'clock in the morning, cook breakfast, and we're talking probably about 30 people, 30 relatives. And at that time, you could have your picnic table right at the water's edge. Everybody respected it. And so we would start with breakfast, and then we would hit lunch, which would be homemade spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. And it's marvelous memories. And when I grew up and had my own kids, we spent almost every weekend up there with my kids, just exploring and going in the water. It was one of my favorite places.
Nice. Sounds like you have a lot of fun memories.
I do.
So what is your advice or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with listeners, on watchers, on getting outdoors and enjoying the outdoors?
Well, my advice is, if you're stressed, you need to get outside. And especially you need to, the water is always calming and peaceful to me. It kind of just speaks to my heart. And so that's kind of, I look for that anytime I'm going to go on vacation. I want the water. I can just sit there and just let all my thoughts just calm down, go out of my head, and I just feel so much better. You can actually feel the peace come upon you when you're outside. And my advice is for everyone to go ahead and make sure you do that, because the benefits are wonderful.
It's funny when you mentioned it, I saw everybody's head start to nod, and all the staff were like, yes.
That's why I enjoy working here, because I just really feel that what we do really benefits everybody. It gives me a good feeling.
Great. Thank you, Bernadette. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
No, everybody just get outside and enjoy yourself. Enjoy this time as best you can.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to turn to Peggy next. Peggy is a new position that was created last November. She is our development coordinator. So Peggy, if you can take your mic off silence, and I think she may have frozen again. So we'll come back to Peggy. I'm going to jump to Sarah now, and so Sarah, if you follow us on social media, or if you've been watching some of the Lunch and Learns, you may have already met Sarah. But Sarah, tell us what your role is with the foundation, please.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I am the Outreach and Public Relations Coordinator.
Excellent. And what is a typical day for you at PPFF or
Sure,
remotely?
like you said, Marcy, creating content and posting content to all of our social media channels, writing and sending press releases as necessary, helping friends groups with their social media. This position also coordinates the photo contest and the photo tour, so booking those and then moving the photos. I also help with editing some video when that's necessary, and just supporting the other staff and collaborating when they need me.
Excellent, thank you. And do you have a favorite outdoor activity? And if so, where do you like to do that activity?
Yes, so my favorite activity is sitting in the sun. I love the sun. I am motivated to go outdoors because of the sun. That is my big pull. So if I had to pick, I just like sitting in the sun's rays. But I also enjoy hiking, and as some of the other ladies said, playing in the water as well. I love swimming and tubing. We did that a lot growing up, and even now as an adult, I love floating down a creek. But the parks that I visit the most, I would say, are Boyd's Big Tree, because that's definitely geographically the closest to my home. So it's easy, it's a no-brainer just to bop up there and take a stroll around. I also visit Gifford Pinchot a fair amount. And I have very, very fond memories of my childhood visits to Ricketts Glen and World's End State Park as well.
Nice, wonderful. So on this Giving Tuesday, what advice would you like to give or share with our listeners and viewers on how to enjoy the outdoors?
Sure. So my advice is to wear SPF every day. When you're going outdoors for no matter how long, slather yourself up. I keep a bottle or two by my front door, so it's there before I leave, and I'm reminded just to put it on my hands, my forearms, my face every day. Even if you're not concerned about skin cancer, do it for the vanity reasons, wrinkles, sunspots. The sun is very powerful, and it's only getting more powerful. So we need to respect it and make sure that you wear sunscreen when you're outdoors.
Excellent. That's excellent advice.
Yeah.
Some of our state parks have free sunscreen dispensers at the beaches, but not all of them. So it is good to have it handy with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Sarah?
Yeah, I would like to point everyone to my favorite PPFF resource I've stumbled upon so far is our Explore Near worksheets or sheets. And that is an easy way for people to find a park or forest in their geographical area. So if you visit our website, you can find it under Get Involved, Get Outdoors, and Explore Near. Maybe we can post it in the comments so folks can find it easily here. But they are wonderful resources if you're looking for a new place to explore.
Awesome. Great idea. Great idea. And if you're in an area and we haven't created an Explore Near sheet for you, let us know. We'll make sure that we're continuing to populate that information. So we're going to try Peggy again. I don't know if she's frozen. Peggy,
can you hear me?
Are you able to talk?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. You're a bit frozen, but try again. So tell us about your role at PPFF.
Okay, well, I am the development coordinator, as you said a bit earlier.
It's not working. I'm going to move on to Pam. Maybe tweak what you're doing, and we'll try again in a few minutes. So Pam and I have been dabbling in conservation and in the environment since the 1990s. So if you receive our Take 5 emails, if you receive an e-blast, if you got an e-blast from us recently talking about a vote that was taking place today, Pam was involved with that. So tell us a little bit about your role, Pam.
Well, my title is membership coordinator. And so that would imply if you're a PPFF member or you make a donation to us or one of our friends groups, chances are I'm in the background manipulating your data and doing an acknowledgement letter that thankfully goes to Jenna to mail out, bless her heart. Thank you very much. So yeah, I do that, and there is really no typical day, I have to say, because I have this thing called Pam's time management calendar, and I have everything laid out when I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And then something happens, like the legislature decides to take some sort of strange action, and we have to speak up. So that's that can just kind of shoot the whole schedule to heck. But yeah.
Yeah. That's true. So that's your typical day.
My typical day is atypical.
Yes, indeed. So what's your favorite outdoor activity, and where do you like to do that?
Well, I like to cycle, best of all. I like to walk too. I'm not much of a, long distance hiker by any means, but I do like to cycle. And I am very fortunate to live where a couple of these wonderful ladies have said is their favorite place, which is Ohiopyle. It's a half mile that way over my shoulder. I live in Confluence, PA, so it's right along the Great Allegheny Passage, which passes right through Ohiopyle State Park. So you'll find me out on the trail just about every day, either walking or cycling. And I also love Laurel Hill State Park, which is pretty close by too. Big lake for all you ladies who love the sun and the water. Come on out.
Excellent, excellent. So what is your advice or words of wisdom to share with people in terms of getting outside?
Well, right now this is temporary advice. At least I hope it's temporary, but wear your mask. I thought I had mine here because I had the Earth Day mask with our Earth Day bandana, but it seems to have disappeared. So yeah, it's very temporary advice, but right now I think you need to do it. And as the other ladies have said, just get outside and do it. It's wonderful for you.
Excellent. Any final words, Pam?
Just thank all of you for your support. We really do appreciate it. You make a huge difference in everybody's lives by supporting your state parks and forests. And
Thank you.
Take 5 Fridays with Pam if you don't.
Excellent. Thank you. So people are commenting they could hear Peggy. I could not. So if Peggy, we're going to try again. And Pam, if you can hear her, maybe you can ask the questions of her because I cannot hear her.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll nod if I can hear her. So Peggy.
Hi. Can you hear me now? Let me go back.
I guess Marcy can't hear you. That's too bad. I can hear you fine, Peggy, and you're moving fine. So
okay, great. Sorry, Marcy.
As Marcy mentioned, your role is pretty new. So what does a development coordinator do anyway?
Well, development basically is fundraising. So I'm here to help raise funds for the foundation. I started in November.
Seems like only yesterday, huh? Or 100 years ago.
I know.
So what do you think your typical day is like?
I really have not been here long enough to have a typical day. So much of it has been learning about what the foundation does and then trying to get a handle on what all the needs are in the parks and forests and come up with ideas on how can we help solve a challenge, raise funding for a certain need that's going on wherever the park is located in the state. And that might mean research on businesses, research on individuals. It's always different, really.
Follow the money.
True. Find the money.
What do you like to do outside and where do you like to do it?
Well, to be honest, my camping days of sleeping in a tent on the ground are over. I did have them a while ago, but we've moved on. For now, I'd say my biggest, the way I enjoy parks the most is walking, exploring, not serious hiking, but you can do a backpack day hikes, not overnight hikes. But I like it when there's great scenery, vista, water, as my coworkers said. I mean, who doesn't like water and waterfalls? I have gone on several treks around the state with a good friend who's always in search of a waterfall. Take a camera. I like trying to get a sense of what the history is in that area, maybe how the park came to be a park, how it was donated. For instance, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, So we spent time, our parents took us to McConnell's Mills. So understanding, this mill operation, I still don't, because it predated all of us, but just to get a sense of that is cool to me. Seeing maybe an old canal nearby or tracks, old logging roads, those things are very interesting to me.
Well, speaking of McConnell's Mill, I don't know if you need to pay another visit out there, because thanks to PPFF donors and people like, are hopefully watching today, we were able to do some interpretive panels at McConnell's Mill to explain just those kind of things, how the mill works and everything. So history is really important to us at the foundation, and I agree with you. That's a really good thing.
Yeah, if those had only been there when I was 9, I would be knowledgeable now. Right.
It's time to come back.
Yes.
Words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. I would say, Pennsylvania has this wonderful gift. 121 state parks and all these millions of acres of forestry. It's truly a gift that I'm really just learning to understand since I've been here, because I think the general public doesn't really know. But when you have all this information around you and it's your job to know, I have really become impressed with that. Those early conservation leaders that made this happen for us. But it's not a stagnant gift, it's dynamic. And this gift needs care, as we've seen. That's why we're raising money for bridges that are not sturdy anymore, or roofs that are collapsing. They need care, and that means money. So we need the support to take care of this gift that we have.
Hear, hear. Any final thoughts?
No, just thanks. Thanks for everyone who supports us in whatever way you can. Please spread the word. This is a great foundation doing a great service. So I'd love to see us reach. I'm looking at my map here, but I would love to see us reach into every nook and cranny of Pennsylvania, where everyone knew what the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation stood for and what we do, and that we had solid statewide support from individuals and from businesses. So my parting words.
From your lips to, yep.
Pennsylvania's ears, right?
There you go, from Pennsylvania's ears. And I shall turn it back to our fearless leader, Marcy, to tell you a little bit about herself.
So is Peggy done talking? Because I can now hear her bits and pieces of her. This is very odd. So yes, hello. My name is Marcy Mowry, and I am the president of the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. I have been with the foundation since 2005. So I just realized I celebrated my 15th anniversary on May 1st. I don't know that there is a typical day in the office for me. We do a lot of different things, and there are a lot of balls that are constantly being juggled. So recently, a lot of our effort has been going into making sure that visitors to state parks and state forests are safe and practicing social distancing guidelines and not being crowded. We're looking at what we're planning to do as our parks roll out and reopen, and camping reopens, because of the impacts of the visitation that has happened during the time when volunteers were not able to be engaged. So we're looking at how we negate some of the impacts and the use, and how we do some cleanups and stewardship. And we are monitoring legislation right now, because there has been several pieces of legislation that would have negatively impacted funding for state park and state forest, particularly maintenance and infrastructure. We're excited is probably the wrong word. We will be revealing at some point this week our new website, Protect Pennsylvania's Parks and Forests, that explores the billion-dollar need for maintenance and infrastructure projects. So I don't know that there is a typical day, because there might be days when I spend the day talking with friends groups and solving problems and helping them. So I'm a very enthusiastic park and forest user. So I feel that I have the best job in the world, because I get to focus my energies on what's very important to me, and that's our state parks and state forest, as well as getting people outside for healthy outdoor recreation. My favorite outdoor activity is being outside. It doesn't matter to me what I'm doing. I could be reading a book. I could be cooking a meal over a campfire. I could be hiking, biking, backpacking, walking. Anything is better if it's done outside, in my opinion. And I don't know that I can say that I have a favorite park or forest, because it's probably whatever park or forest I'm in at that moment. Because everyone I visited has had something special and has given something to me. But if you have a question for me, if I'm out and you say, where's a park where I can go do X, Y, and Z, I could give you some advice. But I love all of our parks and all of the 2.2 million acres of state forest. Sorry?
If I
Yes?
may say, you're probably, I would guess, the only one of the six of us who's been to every single park.
Yes, and I've been for several years that I've been to every single park and forest district. When I interviewed for my position, I had been to 87 of the then 114 state parks, and I'd been to 17 of the 20 forest districts. So at that point, I realized I was a user and it was time to give back. My advice is really is a safety piece, and that is when you're going out to hike or to paddle or to spend time in nature, letting people know where you're going. It's very important to let people know when you're going, when you plan to come back, and then touching base when you're back, so that if you don't return or if there's an emergency, people have an idea of where to start to look, and it just increases your safety and makes it easier for people if there needs to be a search and rescue. So I really encourage everybody to file a plan. Even if you live alone and you like to recreate alone, call a friend and say, hey, I'm going to be paddling on the river islands of the Susquehanna. I'm putting in at 1. I plan to pull out at West Fairview at 4 o'clock. If you don't hear from me by 5, give me a call, because maybe I forgot or maybe I stopped to get something to eat. But letting people know where you are and what you plan to do, it's something. It's a small step that you can take in order to be safe and give your friends and family peace of mind when you're outdoor recreating. And even if you're going out with 1 or 2 other people, it's important to let people know where you plan to be. So that's my advice. I'm looking here on the commentary, which is so nice for people whose names we see are chiming in, and it's nice. And we've got some people who are also working on visiting all 121 parks. We do have a program. If you visit all of them, we will recognize you. So let us know. We get excited with you and for you when you visit all 121 parks in the 20 forest districts. If you haven't purchased a passport, that's one way to help you track your visits. Or we also have a wearable checklist bandana that allows you to check them off and take them with you. And the bandana also serves many functions, because you can wear it as a mask. It's blaze orange, so it can tag you when you're out during hunting season. And we are in gobbler season, spring gobbler season now. So please be aware of that when you're outdoor recreating. So are there any particular questions, or I invite any other, Peg's holding up her passport. Are there any other questions? Or does any other staff members want to add some additional thoughts now here at the end? And thank you.
Hi, Samantha.
And I see we've got a couple people who have.
I did see a question here from James, who's starting his employment as a park ranger and wants to know if we have any words of advice for them to do a better job.
That's a great thing. Well, congratulations, James. I hope that you enjoy your time as a park ranger. And words of advice, I would say, get to know your volunteers, and whether they be friends groups associated with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation, or volunteers of independent friends groups, or their conservation volunteers. Get to know the volunteers. Remember to thank the volunteers. And your campground hosts too, if you're in a park with campground, because the hosts are very valuable and serve a very important function and role in terms of communicating to the visitors of the parks and forest, to the parks in this case, but because forests don't have hosts, but they do play a very important role. And if any of our campground hosts are watching, thank you for what you do, because you do help to keep visitors safe and relay information, and you sometimes are the point of contact for visitors in the campground. And I see somebody made a comment that they contacted their rep asking them to oppose the bill that was up for a vote today in the House Environmental Resources and Energy Committee. That bill would transfer the Keystone Fund away from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to it being allocated by the General Assembly. The Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation opposes this. The Keystone Fund is a very successful bill. Unfortunately, it passed the Environmental Resources and Energy Committee. We will post the vote so that if your legislator voted to protect the Keystone Fund, you can thank them. And if your legislator voted to move control of the fund over to the General Assembly, you can let them know the impact that this could have on your favorite places in our state. We will be communicating with people and letting you know when it goes to the full House for a vote, because we will continue to oppose this because we feel that is not in the best interest of our state parks and state forest. We also have a comment that geocaching is a great way to get out and explore our parks and forests, and we see some nods. Geocaching is a favorite pastime of a lot of people, and it is doable, and it does lead you to some very interesting spots that maybe you didn't find on your own or didn't know existed. Any other comments from staff or any other comments from our viewers or questions? Well, we really appreciate you being here. Again, as a reminder, on Friday, we will have a lunch and learn focused on ticks and Lyme disease prevention. We also have upcoming webinars on forest bathing or forest therapy. We will have an opportunity for you to meet the board of directors of the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. And help me out, Pam or Sarah, what are some of the other topics that are coming up?
Forest stewardship. We're working on photography.
If there's anything that you're interested in, let us know in the comments section, and we'll make sure that we get a speaker. And if this is your first lunch and learn with us, we've had 2 so far. We had one on how to plant a tree, and we had one with Michael Herman from Purple Lizard Map. So learning how to read a map is also a great skill in helping you stay safe in the outdoors and to help you find some fun and interesting places to visit. So,
yep.
Well, great.
Get in touch with us, everybody. If there's anything we can do to help you, just now you know who we are. Ask.
Detweiler Development. Scott, I see your question, but I'm not sure I understand it. So maybe you can private message us through our Facebook page and we can answer your question. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed meeting all of the staff. They all enjoy what they do working for Parks and Forest, and they're just as enthusiastic about our Parks and Forest as you are. So enjoy your time outdoors and stay safe, and we hope to see you back again soon. Bye. Happy Cinco de Mayo.